What's up, everybody? Coach Stefan, owner of Pursuit. I'm here with one of our clients, Alex. Do you mind introducing yourself, giving people a little bit of background on what you do for work, um, your age, stuff like that, and then we'll kind of dive in and get some feedback on the program.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name's Alex. I'm 28 years old, a recently separated veteran from the United States Marine Corps. I just finished up 4 years of service there, and currently in the process of applying to a couple police departments.
Yeah.
Um, but I've been using Pursuit for the last 6 months, and I'm just ready to dive in, deep dive.
Yeah, man. Cool. Well, thanks for kind of giving people some context. Um, for those of you listening, I'm a veteran, right? And we do work with a lot of military, and a lot of our law enforcement are also prior military. Some of them are still in guard reserves, stuff like that. So, I know your situation is actually pretty similar to some other clients we've had, and a lot of the conversations I have with, potential people looking for some help. They're either active duty military and they want to increase their performance, or they're separating, getting into law enforcement, or just onto like their next career endeavor. What was like the first thing that made you join Pursuit in the first place? Like, what were you wanting some help with initially?
Yeah, so I was kind of feeling lost when it came to training in a sense because I was on like a cookie cutter program on Train Heroic there. I was on there for maybe over a year and a half and then kind of just made some plateaus and didn't really get past there. And I wasn't really happy with the programming there. So I tried a bunch of different stuff, like other teams and other programs, but it just like it wasn't really cutting it for me there. So I was kind of just losing gains, losing motivation in the gym. And then I kind of just was like, well, maybe I should finally pull the trigger and kind of just get like actual coaching and kind of just like just dive in there and kind of go head first and
Yeah. Well, let's go to some of your background, right? Because I think that situation is really similar to a lot of our guys, right? Like almost everybody that comes to us, they're not new to training by any means, right? Most of these dudes, I know you're a little bit on the younger side, and we do have some like 21, 22, 28-year olds. A lot of our guys are like 40, 50 years old. But regardless, like they've had 5, 10, maybe plus years of training. And I think that kind of that's the normal route. Maybe you've like tried some things on your own or through the military, like you're not new to fitness. Maybe you played sports, but then at a certain point, it's like, all right, I have enough knowledge to get me to a certain point, right? I have enough, like I can follow a program, but at a certain point, like I need something different. What is your background with like athletics, lifting, military? Can you walk me through that?
yeah, absolutely. So growing up, I did combat sports. So I grew up doing karate till I was like 16, then transitioned to judo, Muay Thai, and BJJ. And then I wrestled all throughout high school, so I was pretty active, pretty used to combat sport conditioning and all that good stuff. And then preparing for the military, I kind of just did a bunch of like beat down workouts, like
Yeah.
that traditional circuit style training, no breaks. If you're not puking, you're not trying type stuff, and just kind of feeling really beat up there. But yeah, kind of just a bunch of that. Then came into the military where it's just PT every day, and it's whatever your squad leader deems it appropriate, which is just another ball busting workout, not really helping you, just kind of just burning you out and just no breaks. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference between working out and training, right? And I
All
think
right.
like, did I have the kind of very similar background to you? I haven't done as many martial arts, but wrestler, did military combatives, all that. So yeah, like fight training is some of the hardest training. But to a certain point, it might not be getting you towards your goal, right? And for a lot of our military, law enforcement responders, even some of our like CEO executives we work with, they are like, I want to get a good workout, right? And so we want that like soul crushing, dry heaving, kind of like we're just high achievers. We want to go, want to get a good workout, right? And that's kind of what we're used to, but it might not be getting you closer towards your goal depending on where they are, right?
Right.
What were some goals? Like I know you said, hey, I hit a kind of a wall, but I wanted a coach to get me past to achieve X, Y, Z. What were some of those things when you pulled the trigger with us that you were hoping we could help you achieve?
Yeah,
That
I
that
know
that wasn't helping you do.
one of my goals is to do a muscle up, and then I had another one of doing a 5x5 for 225 because that would just be like that's just to me is like, all right, that guy maybe he knows how to lift, doing 225 on a bench, 5 by 5. That's awesome. And then my other goal was kind of just like I want to see my veins in my arms again because I've accumulated some mass over there from, stress and all that good stuff, not training correctly. So I was pretty unhappy with my body. So I kind of just wanted to see my veins again, get that good pump going.
Okay, so there was aesthetics for sure, right? Which, by the way, you could probably see the photos after this, but like you've had quite the physical transformation, right? You had some love handles, some body fat. Do you know
Mhm.
the metrics, like how much body fat you've lost and or how much muscle you've gained? Like you want to talk
No,
about that
unfortunately, I
quick?
do not. I know I did an in-body scan when I first started, and I was sitting around like 20-ish something percent body fat, probably a little bit more, like 23, 25%. I don't know. I don't really know those metrics, but even though the weight hasn't really moved too much, I can just tell there's a big
Yeah.
difference in my body
Uh,
there pretty much.
Yeah, I would say physique wise, you've probably dropped at least like 5 to 7% body fat. Right? Like you
Yeah.
could tell, like, right, the love handles are a little bit less. The stomach's definitely less. Your back, we kind of talked about your back photos. Like
Yeah.
before it was a little more of like this shape. Now it's more of like that V shape in your lats, chest. Like you really have gained muscle everywhere. And like, yeah, not everybody has access to like an in-body or a DEX or whatever, but like you could tell. I mean, can you tell the way that your like look and your clothes are feeling? And
Yeah, absolutely. My clothes fit a lot different. My pants don't fit to start too, so I don't think I'm a 32 anymore, but here we are. Just got to wear the belt a little bit tighter. Shirts are fitting a little bit tighter around the arms and the chest. It just,
yeah.
yeah, it's
And you also came in with some injuries. Talk to me about that.
yeah. So I separated my shoulder about a year into the military and kind of just like never really said anything about it. And then got injured a little bit more. I separated it again. And then from that time, it was kind of just like a reoccurring thing where I couldn't really lift too much. I got a PRP shot done there, which it didn't really help me too much there. But then, and part of the physical therapy I was doing in the military too, it just really wasn't cutting it. I wasn't seeing any improvement in my shoulder
Yeah, bro.
until I
I had
started
the
working.
military injury and the PT. Not to get on a tangent, but PT specifically in the military, from my experience, I'm sure yours is like just to get you, just to get you back.
Yeah.
There's nothing beyond like actual rehab and stuff. What And now I know your shoulder has improved a lot since working with Mike and stuff. Talk to me through like maybe what that kind of limitation was 6 months ago versus kind of where it is now.
Yeah, so I couldn't really bring my arm past up here without significant pain or overhead pressing or just benching in general. I know when I got my PRP shot, I couldn't even do a push-up correctly. I had to do a decline, so my
Hmm.
chest had to be significantly up,
Yeah.
kind of like that. But since working with Coach Mike, I told him all my injuries and ailments, and he's kind of just like, "All right, cool. We'll work with what we can." And from then on, I kind of just did a whole bunch of shoulder exercises, so some rehab. He had me do is hanging on a bar. We did that for quite some time. And when it came to benching and everything, the earthquake bench is what I did for probably like 4 months, along with some Lou raises that he really enjoys doing. And kind of just one day, my shoulder has just stopped hurting. I feel great, and I'm back. I feel
Let's
even
go.
stronger than I was before. So what he did for me in about 4 months is like it did more for me than about 9 months of physical therapy.
Yeah. And I tell a lot of our guys that because they're coming in with some injuries. I got a lot too. And I remember a conversation, I'm like, dude, if Mike can't help you, nobody can. You know what I mean? And, we have really, really high level coaches that understand the human anatomy, right? And not that we're physical therapists, and I have nothing against physical therapists. In fact, we coach a couple PTs in our program. Um, but like it only gets you to a certain point, right? And I'm sure there's some really good ones that specialize in like beyond just the rehab, but like you said, it's like, oh, do these like basic workouts, but you actually need to strengthen a joint, create space, like do movements. But also what happens for a lot of people that get injured is they just like don't touch that part. Oh, my back's injured, I can't do it. My shoulder's injured, I can't do it. It doesn't actually make it better, right? It just kind of like keeps it at bay. And
Yeah.
that's kind of where you were. And then, obviously working with Coach Mike and highly customizing the program to your situation, equipment, all that stuff that we do. I mean, 4 months that you're not dealing with pain and then it's stronger than it was. Like, dude, what a win in itself, right? Plus the aesthetics, plus the performance. What do you think like were your big struggles before you joined? Like, yes, you did mention that you weren't really getting the results you want, but was it just like a lack of, consistency? Was it just more like structure, knowledge? Was it a mix? Like, walk me through what the barriers were.
Yeah, definitely structure for sure. So it's kind of just like that training knowledge, I guess, that I lacked as well. It's kind of just like I didn't have an actual specific goal, or not a goal, I'm sorry, an actual like training plan to stick through, something that'll like my physical self wasn't really being taken care of. So that kind of was just spiraling into my regular life with like work and life and everything like that. Kind of just like if I'm not working out, I'm not getting a good workout. I just don't feel like I'm doing good. But once that got taken care of, there's just been an improvement in all areas elsewhere too. So it's kind of just like finding a good plan and then just sticking with it was kind of just my big
Yeah.
my big struggle before joining.
Okay. Yeah. Do you feel like we've delivered on that since you've been in?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, delivered is an understatement. It's been above and beyond what I could have expected.
And this was your first time working with a coach, right?
Yes, my very
Like,
first time. I've always been really hesitant about it. And then I remember our onboarding call when you told me that you guys did conjugate and I had success with a conjugate-like program there, and I was like just struck gold.
yeah. Well, walk me through that, man, because I think, your situation and kind of skepticism is very normal on most of the guys we work with. I mean, I would say we actually measured it a while ago, and it was like 96 or 97% have never worked with a coach in general, let alone an online coach, right? What were some of like your fears and hesitations? I mean, and again, like you're not new to fitness, right? So all the things
Right.
like I could probably do it on my own. Like, do I really need a coach? Like, walk me through kind of maybe where your mindset was and some of the fears you had working with a coach, specifically an online coach.
Yeah, so probably just like everybody else who's in the gym, they think they're doing the right things at all time because they read a couple articles, they watch a couple videos on YouTube about some like really successful bodybuilder, but bodybuilding is not what we're doing. We're trying to be athletes, so it's kind of just taking those bits of pieces of information and training and kind of like doing it yourself, where you think like you're your own master or whatever. Like nobody wants to seek help in the gym because they think what they're doing is the right thing. But just kind of getting a coach is kind of just like something I thought about for a while. Like, hey, maybe I don't know it all, like I think I do. Maybe I should probably ask somebody who's, made this their career and their profession. They should be good at that. So it's kind of just like, probably the biggest like fear and hesitation I had was kind of like maybe they weren't, like the coach wouldn't be, um, like kind of specializing in kind of like the training that I wanted to do, which kind of like strength and conditioning, all that stuff. But it was just better than I could have expected.
Yeah, I put you with the right coach, right?
Yeah,
Coach
absolutely.
Mike. And that's part of my job, like I told you, right? Like, is putting you, we have three different coaches right now, is putting you, who's gonna, I mean, all of our training styles relatively the same, right? We're one company, but like, hey, who's gonna be like the best fit with you, like vibe with you? You're talking to them on a regular basis, like build a relationship, understand your situation. We have specific coaches that specialize in specific things too, right? Like Mike is in law enforcement, and you want to go in law enforcement, and his style and his rehab. So that's like part of putting you with somebody that is a good fit for you. Now, you mentioned too something I want to rewind a little bit. You're like, man, uh, yes, you got the physique, right? Yes, you've got your shoulder better, all that. But you mentioned that it just kind of like influenced other areas of your life. Because
Mhm.
before you were like, I wasn't really working out and I just like wasn't firing on all cylinders. Now that you have had the physical transformation, I know you're continuing another 6 months with us, which is awesome. Uh, but you've had quite the physical transformation. You've had the performance stuff. You had the rehab. How is that showing up differently in your life in different areas?
I mean, once fitness is taken care of, I just know that, everything's pretty good. So it's just like I'm in a better mood all around. I'm not feeling groggy anymore, or kind of like upset and nothing really. I don't really like short-tempered or anything like that. Like everything's just it just bleeds into your life. I don't know. I can't really explain it too well. But it's kind of just like once fitness was taken care of, all other areas were improved in my life. Like, and
Yeah,
the
man.
discipline of kind of like staying on track, just and I think probably the biggest thing is kind of just knowing that you're making progress too. So you're kind of just motivated to keep doing well. So you just want to continue and follow the program and the structure and everything. And then you just keep getting results. So you keep feeling good and you feel better. So it just makes everything else better, really. I don't. I don't know
Right.
how else to really say it.
Do you feel like it's helped in your like overall confidence? I mean, I know you're applying for different departments and doing that. You think you just like show up a little bit differently?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's like I take off my sweatshirt and these dudes are like, "Oh man, this guy's probably not worried about doing the bench or he's probably not worried about failing this and that." And just kind of being above average in like when it comes to fitness in like those PT tests or whatever, like I'm easily top 10 um in
It's
kind of
awesome.
like all those physical tests that I've had to do and it just, we didn't even have to try.
Yeah.
Coach Mike would probably consider those just like warm-ups for us. So,
Right. Yeah, man. And I mean, I do understand what you're trying to describe because that's literally why fitness is super powerful, right? And you know, because you're an athlete your whole life, but like it's I always describe it as momentum, right? Like, yes, it is going to increase your confidence. It's going to increase how you show up, how you walk in a room, like your energy, your aura, all those things. And it's like impossible to not have it bleed both directions, positive and negative. When you're not dialed in and you're not building momentum, you could feel it. Like it's just this like it's like cobwebs, right? Like whether
yeah,
it's mental or physical or emotional or spiritual, you're just like not building the momentum, you're not vibing on that level. And so it bleeds in, more short-tempered, maybe not as patient with our spouses. Like,
right.
you're not showing up as confident. Like it's hard. It is sometimes hard to just poke a needle in it, but we can tell. But then we flip the script and we get, I say dialed in because it's everything, right? You're training, you're consistently, you're making progress. You feel like, hey, 1 + 1 = 2. I'm putting the effort in the gym. I'm making progress, and it just builds momentum in every area, dude. Now when you're trying to do hard things or you need discipline in other areas, it bleeds in, man. And that's why for like high achievers, people that don't want to settle for mediocrity, fitness really is the base. The base of the pyramid, dude. Like physically, mentally dialed in, and then we build everything on top of that. And you've been a really good example of it. Um, what do you think, 6 months in, what do you think the biggest takeaways from the program has been for you?
Probably one of my biggest takeaways is kind of like the knowledge of how everything works. Because I know working with Coach Mike a lot, he talked about his style of programming and kind of how we got into the conjugate and all like that. And we just talk about that and kind of like once we see other people doing these like just weird stuff in the gym, you kind of just know everything else really it just seems wrong, because like, oh, okay, if you failed this, then these are the areas that you probably need to improve on. So it's kind of just the knowledge is probably my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, and that's important, right? Because like, and I told you this when we just chatted and at the beginning. But for those of you listening, like I don't want to work with you guys forever. Like I want to get you knowledgeable. I want you to eventually go on your own. I know even for you, you're like, hey, I want to continue, but I'm kind of at the point where I probably need a little less accountability, right? So we kind of are continuing on like a lower tier, but we're
Mhm.
getting you to the point where you are eventually self-sufficient. It sounds like you've increased your knowledge base since you started, right? Do you feel more confident? Like if we were to cut the cord right now, that you would be more confident training on your own than you were 6 months ago?
Oh yeah, 100%. I wouldn't be able to be like, "Oh my God, what do I do now?" I'd be able to definitely figure it out. It's just the numbers and stuff is what kind of trips me up the most too, but with
Sure.
more time, I'll be able to figure that out
Yeah.
eventually.
And we don't expect somebody, Mike's been coaching for 15 years for me about the same length. Like, I'm not expecting you to be able to accomplish all that in 6 months, right? But at the same time, like, it is important that we're getting you to the point where you are becoming more self-sufficient and building that, right? It is quite literally an investment, dude. What you're learning in this program, you get to continue the rest of your training career because eventually you and I are going to have a conversation where you're like, dude, I'm good. I know that, right? And so getting you to that point where now, Alex 2.0 is outside of this program and you're able to program your own and know how to work around injuries and all these things. So like not only are you getting the results while you're in, but you're getting educated, you're understanding why. Um, Kind of brings me to my next question is how has it been with just I'll give you some context too. I think the biggest thing with the industry, which I hear all the time, and a little bit with the fear, is like, how is a coach going to like communicate with me and hold me accountable and guide me? How has just that whole process been with Mike, like educating you, his communication since day one?
It's literally so easy. I mean, it's all in the app right there. You can message whenever you want. You set up your conference calls whenever. I mean, it's really foolproof there. It's just on the individual to kind of just take that initiative and kind of just open up and kind of just share like what's going on with you. And it's actually That probably helps a lot too that your coach shares your wins too. That's huge. You think you made a big PR too, but being able to share that with somebody else who's just as enthusiastic about seeing you succeed is close to none. I think that's kind of something that I didn't really think about until I was kind of just like, hey, I hit a new PR. He was like the first one of many, like it's
Yeah.
just beginning and it's just steadily going up every single time. Like I really have not hit a wall that much, so we haven't really plateaued super often. It's just like having someone in your corner who is really just cheering you on, really wants to see you do well, like truly cares about your success is just really easy. It's all right there for you in the app.
Yeah. And that's a cool thing to touch on too, because I get it that for a lot of the dudes who work with aren't really big for like community and they're like, ah, I'm kind of good, but it feels good, man. It's just like you played sports, right? When your coach is like, you did an awesome job. That feels good. I don't care who you are, right? And so being able to have a coach that's truly invested, like that Mike gives a shit, dude. Like he cares. He actually cares. And we don't want you to just be a number. Like we actually care about Alex and the things you're doing. And it goes beyond just the programming. Obviously, talk about your job and career and all those things. And you do build a relationship with your coach. And then, we have a good community. So being able to like shout you out in there and it feels good. You're like, hey, I am getting some recognition, right? Like I am feeling like what I'm doing is worth it. And not that we need to ride all of our stuff on getting shouted out, but like it's a good thing. And for you, I'm sure you've seen in the community, like it's not just you that's winning. Like it's a ton of people
Everybody.
every single week, dude, everybody, right? So I think that is good because it does two things. Number one, it's like, oh, damn, like this program is working. So it's easier to be bought in, like it's working for all these people. But it also puts pressure on you if you're not, right? You're like, oh, damn, I got to do it, man. There's all these people getting it. Like, okay, I got to work harder or I got to do this. So it's kind of, um, yeah. Uh, how do you think the communication has been with Mike? Like it's pretty easy to get a hold of him and get a hold of me in the community.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could just send a message whenever I want. He'll get back to me whenever he's done training over there later in the day, first thing in the morning. Like it's I've never had an issue with not hearing from my coach. Maybe I probably heard from him a little too much, like
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing. The communication is not a bad thing.
Yeah. And that's important for me. I want to make sure that like the level day one is the same year two, that it's not because I mean, that is kind of a little bit of the downfall with the industry sometimes, right? They're like, yeah, his coach was like all about it. And then after I like a month, it just kind of, right. And so we're really diligent about like, hey, no, we have processes and procedures and systems to make sure, hey, checking in with the client, because we really do offer like a fully customized approach. And when we say that we're going to be there, we're going to give you accountability feedback, like we mean it, right? And a last question for you, man, is um, there's gonna be probably somebody that watches this that maybe is on the fence, right? And I ask everybody this I interview with because just kind of want to know your opinion, but where you were 6 months ago, and kind of maybe the fears and the hesitations, and maybe like, maybe do it on my own. I've been training my whole life, like kind of the voices in your head. If somebody was on the fence, maybe they're telling themselves, I don't need it. I could go on my own. Like, what would you say to that person that was kind of where you were 6 months ago?
I mean, if it's something you're debating and you think you can do it on your own, well, you're not where you want to be. So I would just say just pull that trigger. So this is literally somebody's job. They're a professional at it. So just, take the back seat, learn as much as you can, and just dive head first.
Yeah, man, you said it well. And the reality is this too, right? If you really were where you wanted to be, like if you had all the knowledge, you had all the skills, you had all the tools, then we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Like you'd already be there, right? And that is a hard pill to swallow. And I am very open about all the coaching I've got. I have Coach Mike program me, and I've had fitness coaches in the past, even when I was a fitness coach, and I have a business coach and all that. And I think for like the alpha male high achiever dude, like it is not our first inkling to be like, I need help, right? But
Right.
I think I gave you this same mindset perspective, and it was a big shift for me. Is like when I started actually realizing that the highest level people have coaches, it wasn't a sign of weakness. It was actually quite the opposite, right? Like the
Mhm.
high achievers, the bodybuilders, the NFL players, the multi-millionaire entrepreneurs, they all have coaches, mentorships. They all find somebody that is an expert in the field that can do it quicker, right? And that's really what coaching does. It collapses time. Like you said, like, hey, point A to point B way quicker, which is time is the most valuable resource on this planet, right? We can't get it
Yeah.
back. Um, and also just like getting you further. Like if you're doing it on your own, right? It's like, oh, I could do it on my own. That's not really the question is isn't can or can't you? It's will you be better with a coach? Yes. Right? Like that really is. Will you get there quicker? Will you get further? Yes, right? You're like, hey, I'm not hitting plateaus. My shoulder got better. Like, could you maybe eventually done it on your own? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, I think the strong-willed version of us wants to go, yeah, dude, I could do it. Like,
Yeah.
yes, but the sooner you actually sit there and say, it's not a sign of weakness. It's just more like I want to get there. And right. And we've had 1,300 people ish come through our program. Very few of them are like, beta dudes that are like, oh, I just can't do, like they're guys that are very, confident in some aspect. I mean, some of them, really let themselves go and like, all right, I need help. But I think the biggest thing that holds them back is just they're afraid that it's like, I could do it on my own or have a sign of weakness. And you're a good example of like somebody and hats off to you, man, that said, hey, I'm going to be a sponge. I'm not incapable, but I know where I want to go. And I just am okay admitting that I just don't have all the knowledge to get there and I don't have all the accountability. And you've done really well. You're wildly consistent. I knew you would do really well. And the proof's in the pudding of what you've done. You've had these transformations, this transformation, your performance has gone through the roof. It's continuing to climb. You've rehabbed like all in 6 months, man. And, you should be proud of the work you're putting in. I mean, you're the one that's doing it, but obviously you got to have the tools to get there. And that's really what it is. Like for most of our clients and for you, it's not a you thing. It's not because you're lazy or you're incapable. It's giving you the tools, the education, the guidance, and a system that actually works for you. It's just installing a new software, dude.
Yeah, yeah, pretty
And,
much. I mean, it's just like once you let the ego take the back seat because you don't know everything, just absorb all that knowledge and kind of just take it all in, and then just success will happen. You just got to stay with it.
yeah, yeah, man. Well, again, thanks for jumping on. I'm proud of the work you're putting in. I'm excited to see kind of what you do the next 6 months. And, you're in really good hands as you're very aware. And I just think we just keep chipping away, man. But it's simple, right? It's not this like overcomplicated thing, which is good because, like, I don't know, maybe it's the military in me. I'm like, just tell me like what to do, how to do it like this. And
Yep.
I just want to go execute.
Yep.
And that's how we created our program. Like, I know the guys I work with, even our like 6, 7 figure business owners are busy, man. They got all this going on. They're like, just tell me what to do. And the fact that you can just open up the app and be like, okay, today I'm doing this, and you just go do it. But on the back end, you know that it was meant for you. You talk to the coach, it fits your schedule, it fits your injuries. It's easier to go to the gym and execute, right?
Oh,
Like
100%. I don't even have to think about it.
emotionally bought in, right? You're like, hey,
Right.
I know what I'm doing is going to work. Like I know it's also meant for me. So it makes you probably a little more excited to go to the gym. You're not like kind of spinning your wheels. So you could just kind of get in, get out, and it's pushing the needle forward. And
Yep. No
that
movement has been wasted. It's just everything has a purpose there, and it,
a
it
hundred
all
percent,
works together.
100%. And that was the biggest thing for me. And like I use our app every day when I coach and I have a program and I treat myself like that too, because I'm also wildly busy. And so for me to just be like, I worked out before this and I'm like, all right, here's what I do today. But I felt so much better going and doing a program that was meant for me, that I know is meant for me, that's getting me towards my goals versus like, oh, I'm going to do like chest today. Like, yeah, it's a workout, but are we working out or are we training?
Right.
Are we going to just make ourselves tired or do we actually want to like push the needle forward to our goal? And when you're trying to do it all, which is good, rehab, performance, and aesthetics, you got to have a pretty dialed in program. It can't just be throwing darts at the wall blindfolded, right? Like it has to be strategic. And so, thank you for trusting us and putting your trust in Pursuit and Coach Mike to just be like, hey man, dude, tell me what to do and I'll go do it. And that's really it, right? If you can show up and take direction, which your police, fire, military should not be hard for you. It's not an overcomplicated program, man. We try to make it simple yet super effective. So thanks for jumping on, Alex. I appreciate it, man. I'm looking forward to you continuing to crush it, and we'll see you on the inside. Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thanks, boss.
Take care.
Cool, man.